Hi, and welcome to the ADK Talks podcast, where we bring you the stories of the people and places that make the Adirondacks unique. I'm your host, Jane Ackerman, along with my brother. Say hi, Steve.
Hello, and a hello to Frankfurt. I think you'll find this one interesting. We'll be talking wursts and mustards and many things meats.
That's right. We have a real treat for you listeners. We're talking with Jacques Quintel of the famous Oscar's Smokehouse in Warrensburg, New York. For generations, Oscar's has been a destination for visitors and locals seeking the finest smoked meats and specialty foods in the Southern Adirondacks. As Steve can attest, we are huge fans, from their delicious apple smoked bacon, the fantastic 7-year aged cheddar cheese, amazing wursts and sausages, smoked pork chops, delicious butchered meats, and so much more. In fact, we're starting to suspect that some of our frequent guests may be visiting just so they can stock up on Oscar's products. We're looking at you, Uncle Ed. Oscar's began as a small, friendly operation and has grown into an iconic regional brand while maintaining the quality, tradition, and personal touch that has made it special from the very beginning. Jacques Quintel continues the family legacy, balancing time-honored smoking techniques with innovative approaches to business and flavor. In this episode of ADK Talks podcast, we'll hear about what it takes to preserve a multi-generational business while evolving and innovating a beloved Adirondack tradition. So settle in as we explore the smoky, flavorful world of Oscar's Smokehouse. Jacques, welcome to the podcast.
Well, thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate you having me on. That's for sure. It's a pleasure.
We've both been looking forward to this episode, so it's our pleasure to have you with us. Let's just start with the basics. Who was Oscar and what inspired him to start the Smokehouse?
Sure. Well, Oscar Quintel obviously was my grandfather. He was the patriarch of this business, and he was from a town southeast of Montreal called Charlemagne. He came from a long family of butchers. And the ironic thing was my grandmother, Edith Quintel, was from Long Island. And if you kind of sort of do a map quest nowadays and you put Long Island and you put in Charlemagne and you put the middle of those two, you almost are right smack dab in Lake George area. So they just met and meeting and settling in the town of Warrensburg in the early 1940s. My grandfather just brought his knowledge. Basically, we started not as a smokehouse. We started as a butcher shop. So basically taking farmers' pigs and beef and whatever and making, breaking it into cuts and making sausages and so on. Shortly after that, there was a call for the smoking of the products. And so ironically, what we've just really learned recently was that we would do the butchering here. And we found where our original off-premise smokehouse was. It was in the town of Thurman.
Okay.
We have pictures of it, which is, like I said, this is brand new to us because it was just brought to us by a historical society.
Oh, wow.
So it is actually something my dad knew about, but kind of had forgotten about because we're so used to we had the brick smokers here and everything was done here. So we were used to that. So it was something that almost jogged my dad's memory. And he was like, you know what? That's exactly what happened. So what would happen is we would do all the cutting here and then we would transport from Warrensburg the 10 or 15 minute drive to Thurman, and they would actually do all the smoking there. They would then bring it out of the smoker. And once again, the smoker was not any different than the ones that we ended up incorporating into the store. So it was identical, brick smokehouse, run the same way. Yeah, so I think that because people really started to enjoy the smoked meat, okay, it just became something where it just wasn't feasible to drive every time you had a truckload, which really was a truckload of meat. Didn't make any sense to keep doing what they were doing. So I eventually, and listen, I'm going off of just based on common sense. Because that smoker, what it looked like, where it was in Thurman, and what we ended up building here at the store at Raymond Lane, they're identical. So my grandfather basically just took that footprint and said, look, I mean, there's no sense. And so when it got to be too much for the person in Thurman, they would then bring their stuff down here for us. And so it was almost like a give and take type of thing. But yeah, and then the smoke meat just took off. And now we're known more as a smokehouse. Even though we do an awful lot of custom cutting, we still do take pieces of people's pork and even take some hindquarters of venison if they have it. And we will do that kind of stuff for them nowadays. But it's just on a much less basis than it used to be, I think, because nowadays we just don't have the time to do a lot of that stuff because we're doing so much of the special stuff with our own products. So
yeah, that's great. Well, Stephen and I could probably could spend half an hour waxing eloquent about all of your great products.
Baloney.
Steve's a big fan of your baloney.
I tell you, you know what? It's ironic that you say that because it's baloney. Okay, Steve. And listen, you know, as well as I do, there are a lot of balonies out there and brands and whatever. The thing is, though, is so many people are so used to all beef bologna. And, realistically, the best bologna out there really is a mixture of beef and pork. And that's what ours is a combination. And you know what? It's just something that people just really, we get that a lot. We get a lot of people who, and we don't, listen, I mean, we do a good job with bologna, but it's not something that we're just like liverwurst. I get the same thing with liverwurst too. Like,
liverwurst, yeah.
What makes all this stuff really good, guys, is the fact that we're not changing. Listen, I've been asked many times with different interviews and whatever, basically what my job is here at Oscars. And realistically, it's very simplistic. My job here is to not mess things up. We've had such good recipes. I'm not kidding you. I don't believe that there's any product that we have here except for like an applewood bacon. That's something that's relatively new. But other than that, if you have the liverwurst, the bologna, any of the smoked stuff, anything like that, that's all Oscars recipes. Obviously, when nowadays we do have some technology that helps us out, but it's not technology that impedes the recipe. All it does is instead of having maybe one needle to inject the product with to get your cure in there, we have 48 needles in a machine. My grandfather could do it. It would take him about a week to do what I can do in maybe about 2 hours altogether from start to finish. So what he would take 7 full working days to do, because of technology and not taking away from the process, I'm able to do that much quicker. So besides the machinery that does it, that's the only thing that's changed anything. And we've just had to increase that. We've had to go with the modern technology just to keep up with the demand, because our demand now is so high. People nowadays are just really, really looking for quality. And they're also looking for another thing that you talked about, Jane, which was really customer service. Jane and Steve, you guys know, you've been into a lot of different places. It doesn't matter what, it doesn't matter how big it is, it doesn't matter how small it is. Some places nowadays just lack that customer service that we all took for granted years ago, which was hello, please, thank you. All the stuff that all of us grew up with. Okay. That is absolutely something that I make my employees understand that is basically a draw here. I mean, when you go into some place and they acknowledge you, nowadays, just to acknowledge that you're in the store is really nice. I mean, if you're going to go above that and talk to them about the weather or something like that, well, my goodness, you're gonna get somebody in a hissy fit, because they're not going to know what you're doing. Why are you talking to me? This is weird. So where we grind your burger to order, cut your cold cuts, cut your steak, all that stuff that really made our business successful, realistically has made us more popular now, I guess you want to say, simply because we were just doing what everybody else was doing. When I was a kid, when in the 80s, in the 70s, in the early 90s, and so that was normal. So when you went into a store, I mean, you got that. But nowadays, over the last 10, 15 years, when that has kind of gone away from your everyday business model, And I see it. And I'm not going to make names, but I know very popular staples in this state, to say anything about the county we're in, have really lessened their business model for whatever reason. And it absolutely has made a difference in their quality and what you get when you go there. So
100%.
I mean, this is a really good model, you know?
Yeah. I feel like a VIP when I go there. And listener, if you've never been to Oscars, it's actually a big operation. We'll talk a little bit about that in a few minutes. But you go in, there's a big, a wall that's a cooler where they have bacon and cheeses and all kinds of stuff. The more than mustard. Are you still making the baconaise? I've never tried that.
Oh my goodness, it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal.
I've got to try that. I think it would be great this summer on a BLT for those that it's mayonnaise and bacon together.
And bacon. And it's that simple, Jane. It's that simple. It's Hellman's mayonnaise, and we've rendered down our bacon, and it's into look like little bits.
Yep.
And that's it. But it's so good.
Yep.
It's so good. It ups your sandwich like you can't imagine.
Okay. That's on the list. And then when you go to check out, you actually get in line to go to the counter. And then if you're going to order anything, like Chuck said, sliced cold cuts. I'm a huge fan of your filet mignon. It's amazing. Actually, went the other night to get it, and I didn't realize you were closing at 5, and I got there at 5:03, and I almost cried. But you wait for an individual to actually wait on you, and they will take their time. You are their sole focus. They are 100% there for you. And it is exactly as you said, it's a lost art. You just don't get that kind of treatment anymore.
They'll even help you if you have a question about cooking it or warming it up. And going back to the customer service, you can't get that in a lot of places anymore.
Yeah, I mean, we'll send them places here in town. Hey, where's a good place to eat? And even if it might be someplace doesn't use our stuff, which that's a little rare, but even it doesn't matter if they're looking for a certain thing. I mean, we're all about the town of Warrensburg. If we can promote something else, we will. We've become, having the fire in 2009 and rebuilding in 2010. Yeah. We kind of wanted this place to be a destination, not only for Oscars, but we wanted to surround ourselves with a lot of quality local products, not just local products, quality local products. So anything you see in here from the syrup to the goat cheese to the dog treats to the crackers and the
Saratoga chocolate,
fudge, all
jerky.
This stuff. It's not just fudge. It's not just crackers. It's not just goat cheese. It's really good stuff. So what we've tried to make ourselves is almost like a small farm market where you can come in here, you can get all the Oscar stuff, but you can get a lot of stuff that kind of goes along with our stuff. So syrup goes really good with our breakfast stuff. The crackers, the Saratoga Crackers, it's the simplest cracker, and you guys have seen it. It's like the simplest cracker. Like you look at it, you're like, oh, well, what's the big deal? Until you taste it and you put some 7-year-old cheese and maybe you dip a little more than mustard in it. Well, then all of a sudden those Saratoga Crackers are phenomenal, but it's really good stuff. So that's what we've tried to do, is not only be someplace where we can maybe even coffee, for goodness sakes. We're selling whole bean and ground coffee from a gentleman right up the road. I don't exactly know the exact place of it, but it's called Upper Hudson Coffee Company. Makes small batches of coffee. His coffee is phenomenal. I mean, you wouldn't expect to come into Oscars to buy ground coffee or whole bean coffee or goat cheese or, so we just try to, put really good stuff in here that just goes along with our clientele. And it absolutely has worked very, very well.
It's amazing. We go in with a list of things we want or need, and we wind up picking up Nettle Meadow cheese or, some other thing, or we're short on syrup. So we get and we've got to have 100% pure Adirondack maple syrup in our house. So, it's great to have all that variety of products that you have. And, we've been coming to Oscars for 45 years. And we remember, the old store, which had a great charm, but it was small. I mean, you would go in and people would be like 4 or 5 deep at the counter. Your new place, and it's not that new anymore, is great and spacious, and I'm sure gives you the ability now to offer all those products. But I've been watching you on social media and Facebook and your behind the scenes videos. I was knocked out at what's sort of behind the counter and how big that's. So you've got like what, 9,000 square feet?
Yeah. It's, that's the biggest thing that I think that people really kind of sort of question is, how do you do all this stuff? And you know what? If we actually in the past, and not so much now, it's a little bit tougher with guidelines, but we would give tours all the time, and people are just amazed at what they see. And I think that the biggest thing, guys, I was never, and as you can tell if you looked at our Facebook page, I'm not really big personally on that stuff. I'm 50, I'll be 56 here in another couple of weeks. And so, I dabble in it, but I'm not into it like a lot of people are. So I think that when I brought a gentleman on, his name is Seth Cooper, and he's doing all this stuff for us. And the thing is, though, is one of the things we really wanted to promote was really what goes on here. I wanted to promote the people that are here. I wanted people to understand, because we do a lot of stuff that you don't even see. So like when we make our sausages and we're tying it by hand, nobody ties it by hand anymore. There's machines that do that, but you know what? It just doesn't come out the same if you don't tie it by hand. There's so many things that we do that are just literally right behind that clear curtain that you see. We are as transparent as we can be, but yet you can't see the 4,500 or 5,000 square feet of processing that we actually have, So I think that's the biggest thing that become the biggest draw on social media for us, at least right now, is the fact that people are loving the behind the scenes stuff, because this is really the first time that we've ever done anything like that. And it's really gotten an awful lot of quality comments. And I think people are really enjoying the fact that they're seeing exactly what goes on, at Oscars.
One of my friends, my bestie Pam, who I mention a lot on the podcast for some reason, college roommate, great friend for many, many years, right, and huge fan of Oscars. She's one of those people I was sort of referring to, and I was like, I think she's just coming up for the Oscars. We discovered your lemon blueberry cookies. And so when I told her that we were going to have you on the podcast, she's like, find out where those blueberry cookies come from. Do they make them? She went off on the cookies. And I was going to ask, but I've already seen the video on Facebook. Right. You make all the pies and the cookies right in the house.
Yeah, well, see, what we tried to do is when we did open up in 2010, once again, because of having the extra space we had and whatever, we wanted to start to branch out in certain things. And, going back to the nostalgia of the old store, and absolutely, you don't, people like yourselves who've been here for a long time just are really like, it's almost like they're so sad. And I understand it, because I had known nothing. Growing up, I'd known nothing but those brick smokers coming into the store where 30 people are in here and it's packed, I'm used to all that stuff. So when we kind of realized that we were going to lose some of that nostalgia, and when I say lose a little nostalgia, the smell, I think mm-hmm. The smell, you always knew when the smokers were going, because first of all, bricks are porous. Okay, so and the gaskets in the old way of doing it, it just leaked out. So it happened, So we had to kind of sort of try to replace that smell that was really something that drew you into Oscars, or you knew you were at Oscars when you were in here. One thing we figured out with testing stuff or whatever was pies and cookies have a really good smell. And when we're baking those, boy, you can tell when we're baking the cookies. So what we decided to do was, we don't make the pies and the cookies. What we do is we buy them in from a really high quality companies, really small companies. Okay. And so we first started with the pies, and it's called Gardner Pie Company. It's out of the Midwest, and they make really, once again, just like coffee, the best coffee is made in small batches. The best pies are also made in small batches. There's not a lot of fillers in there. I've had little old ladies lean into me with their husband right next to them and say, don't say anything, but this is as good or better than my pie, So when you get that kind of, those kind of accolades, it's good stuff. So then we started to do bread, like little breads, like apple cinnamon bread, and we've done the cookies, and it just goes, and if we put it out there, first of all, it's high quality, so we know whatever you're going to get is probably one of the better cookies you've had. And the lemon blueberry, believe it or not, is besides chocolate chip, and I hate to say chocolate chip is probably always going to be number one among the masses, but that blueberry lemon is probably the second best cookie we have, and they're big. Right, yeah. Jane? I mean, they're nice, big cookies. And, but if you're going to do something and it's not something we can do, like if I'm not going to make the pie or the cookies, well, then I'm going to bring in what would be really close to what we could make. And so that's the difference. It really is. It's just like you talked about our fillets. I mean, every meat market, there's 4 in town here that sell filet mignon. It just depends on what you want to start with. Okay. We always start with the highest that we can do. And then, trimming it. I mean, the fillets aren't really necessarily made to be trimmed, but it does happen.
Yeah.
And I find ourselves trimming fillets where you'll go to other places and it's just not a trimmable steak. And we get that, but that comes back to our customer service. And it really does. Like, I'm trimming everything you want. I've had people say, whoa, leave a little bit of that fat on there. It's like, okay, we'll leave some of that on there. That's where some of the flavor is. But, for the most part, if we're marinating something, we're marinating in a high quality marinade that we're also selling on our shelves. The OK marinade and the Speedy sauce. The OK is from Kinderhook. Speedy is from out west. It's a Rob Salamita company, which is basically really big as far as a state of New York, pride of New York company. So we're not only marinating in that stuff, we're selling that stuff. So you can buy the marinades and stuff. So that makes a big difference too. A lot of places are marinated, but they don't sell it and they don't want to tell you what they're marinated in. Hey, listen, my marinades are real good. You like it? Buy it. So.
Yeah. Love your breakfast sausage. I can't believe that I just for the first time tried your Italian sausage 2 weeks ago. It's delicious. It's excellent. And I'm like, why have I been buying the sausage at, I won't name the store. No, it's a great store, but I made sausage and peppers and it just was, the flavor was so elevated. It was fantastic. I feel like there's so many things in Oscars that we go and get the things that we love and we know, but there's so many other things we still have to try. So how many new products do you introduce a year? Do you have anything new and coming up that we should know about?
It's, in our business, we have a lot of what's called trim. Okay. And whether that's off of a steak, whether it's off of pork, raw steak or raw pork, or whether it's off of like bacon or hams, you get a lot of stuff that you have to get creative with. So I'll give you an example. Bacon ends, for example, we do an awful lot of bacon, an average of it. The hickory bacon alone is an average of about a ton a week. And then you have all the other bacons that we do. So you end up getting ends and stuff like that. So for years, and I mean 20 years, if not longer, we were donating about 2.5 tons, about 5,000 pounds a year to local soup kitchens, bacon ends, for anything that they wanted to use them for, from breakfast to using it for flavor in beans or whatever you wanted to do with it. Okay. So as much as we enjoyed that, and it got to be a point where we were really inundating the local soup kitchens with that, and it's great, but they can only use so much. So we started to think, because what can we do with this? So I'm obviously a little biased, but I'm a big bacon fan. And my bacon that I like my bacon is I like my bacon a little crispy. So it means it's a little cooked a little more. So we started to think about it. And so we cooked some bacon and we cooked it thoroughly, cook it, not like some people like it a little flimsy. It was cooked. And we had some maple sugar, which is what it is from Valley Road Maple Farm, who we buy all syrup from. They render it down. They make, so this is not something, this is legitimate maple sugar crystals. So sprinkle it on there, taste it. I was like, man, that is really good. That's a nice sweet one. And we have a New England garlic pepper that we sell a lot of in a shaker here. And that's one that we promote an awful lot. I shook a little bit of that on there, and I'm like, man, that's a nice garlicky, a little, So what we started to do is we started to cook them a little bit, and we put them in these little resealable pouches, and we called them at first, just a little play on words. They were our bacon potato chips or bacon chips to some extent. And they've become more like bacon snacks. So we have 3 different flavors. We have a plain one, we have the maple one, and then we have the garlic pepper one. And it's to the point now. So that was just a thought. Okay. Now I have an employee that in the off season, okay, not in the summers, in the off season, he's doing it all day, every day, 5 days a week, cooking bacon. So, and then we cook it, we lay it out.
I'll apply for that job.
Yeah. Well, I was doing it at first, but we were losing money. It wasn't working out very well. So I had to put a skinny kid on it. And now we're making all kinds of money because he doesn't eat that much. He's not
eating as much.
Well, I'm telling you, now it's to the point where we cook it, we cool it, we layer it in parchment paper, and then we vacuum seal it, and then we go and freeze it. And I'm telling you, whatever he's getting done, by the time he gets it done for June, we'll sell out of it in 2 months. And I'm telling you, we have a freezer filled with it. As a matter of fact, I was watching the girls right now. They just took out like 5 things of it, and they're going to take it out and they'll break it up and they're going to sugar it and whatever. But it's a very big, and once again, that's just a byproduct. I mean, that is just bacon ends that we just don't have. I mean, we sell bacon ends. I mean, I grind my bacon. I sell it as a topper for salads and stuff like that. The stuff we were talking about with the more than mayonnaise. I mean, I use it already, but I still had another call for it. And because I go through so much bacon, these bacon snacks are just, or bacon chips or bacon potatoes, whatever you want to call them. They're phenomenal. As a matter of fact, I'm getting people who are complaining about the Ziploc because they're like, well, what's the Ziploc for? We're eating it all and throwing the bag away. I don't even need the Ziploc. So we might be going, and I've been told that the package isn't big enough. It's only like a quarter pound. And they're like, I said, well, listen, moderation. Moderation. But there's something where you just have an influx of extra stuff. And that is the nature of bacon. You're going to have it. You're going to have ends. You're not going to have completely straight pieces that you want to give to your retail customers or to your wholesale customers that are at a restaurant. But there are half pieces, there are quarter pieces that are phenomenal bacon. And you know what? Instead of, we still give the soup kitchens, like I said, we still give about a ton a year, over 2,000 pounds a year. So we're still not, we're not inundating them with this stuff. And so it works out well for them because they're using it, coming out and getting more rather than, having an awful lot in their freezer. So that is one huge thing that we've done over the last year or two that has just made such a big difference. I mean, we have people just coming in looking for that stuff. And people like the fact, they like the story of this is just like a byproduct and it going so well. So I think that you see stuff of ours with bacon, the ground bacon that you can use for a topper. We put it in a bacon ranch dressing. We do it in a mayonnaise. We do all different types of stuff with it. So, we're almost at our end of creativity with bacon, but we're doing a good job with making a really quality, once again, product that you can take in the woods with you. If you're going camping, you're going hiking, you're hunting. I mean, it's not going to go bad, so it's already cooked bacon. So just keep it in your pouch and enjoy it.
I love that. We had the search and rescue organization, and I asked them, what kind of things do you put in your pack, and was very surprised that espresso, chocolate covered espresso beans, Snickers bars, Swedish fish, like that sugars gives you that good jolt of energy. But now I think we should send them some of the candied bacon because that's sort of the great protein and candy and the sugar rush. That's great. Before we get too far down this, so we've got you can come to the store in Warrensburg, but your products are available in a lot of places.
Yeah.
So if you're in the area, I mean, I've seen your products at the Co-op in Niskuna. What are some of the other places where people can find your stuff?
We're in places as far south as the Poughkeepsie area and as far north as like the Plattsburgh area. So we're like if you're up in our neck of the woods or northern, there's Praise Market, which is a really, really great family-owned farm market. Up in Plattsburgh, we're at the Crossroads. We are down in Glens Falls. We're at the new Spargle on 9, the new German restaurant. We are down in Fitzgerald's off of Exit 17. You said we're down in Niskayuna Co-op on Knott Street in Schenectady. We're also at down on Western Avenue at Gade Farms. We're in Latham at the Cardona's Market. We are in DeVoe's Orchard in Clifton Park. We are in Lakeside Farms in Ballston Spa, which is a phenomenal institution as far as orchards and sandwiches and lunches. And just so you know, Steve and Jane, years ago, and I'm talking years ago, we were asked to be in two of the large markets around here. And, being at that time being smallish, we were like, wow, the big guys want us. This is a feather in our hat and whatever. And we were gung-ho. And what we learned, unfortunately, was the bigger companies you deal with, the less customer service you kind of get. So when we would go and check on our products, it might not be the way we would have it. Maybe it wasn't layered right. It wasn't promoted right or whatever. So it got to the point where they were kind of sort of giving us a little bit less of a name than we wanted. So we actually pulled the stuff from there. And what we found is that the people that you find our places in are more like mom and pop places or more like farm markets, because what we found is if you own the business and it's your product and you're bringing it in, you're going to promote it correctly. You're going to take care of it correctly, because the same way with us, like when we bring in other products to surround ourselves with, not only are we bringing it in, but I take care of it too. So I rotate everything. I make sure it looks good, and we found that people who are invested in the business are smaller, take care of it and promote our business so much better than anything else. So you're going to hear those kind of names, like small places like the Crossroads and smaller restaurants and whatever. So, and we love that. We love the rapport we have with them. They're very easy to deal with. Like I said, they love our products. They eat our products. They take it home themselves. So they're then able to, it's different when you're actually eating the products. You're then able to give a little better description to the people that are buying it from you. But, our best customers, as far as wholesale goes, absolutely the smaller places. I mean, it's just a pleasure to do business with so many of them the places. They're just like us, very seasonal. They care about stuff, and that makes a big difference to us.
That's great. I mean, the Crossroads is right down the road from us, and we've mentioned them before. It's a really great, if they don't have it, you don't need it kind of place.
Right. And the thing is, Jane, is if you really know about them, and we get a lot of this through just interaction with them. I mean, they're very good to the community too.
Yes.
When you have a name, we found even more so that as we become more popular, I mean, we really like to be involved. I mean, we're involved with Little League, after school programs. We donate gift cards to anybody who asks us, basically, unless it's something that's like way out there that I'm like, I don't know. But other than that, I mean, probably this week alone, I've sent out, not this week, sorry, it's Monday. Last week, I think I sent out 10 gift cards, all donations. Depending on what it is, it doesn't matter how big or how small it is. It doesn't matter if it's Big Brothers or if it's something to help out Mrs. Smith because she broke her leg. It doesn't matter to us. I think Crossroads is the same way. I think there's a lot of places that deal with us, Fitzgerald's, and a lot of places that really care about the community too. And so we like that too. We like to be involved. If John up at the Crossroads needs something that we can donate to help, we do whatever we can. So it's not only about, being involved in the community as far as a business, you also need to be part and help the community any way you certainly can. So, and we like, more so than anything, we love to help the kids. And we believe that, that kind of things, getting kids involved in certain activities or whatever, actually will end up being a little bit better people or adults in society. We really realize that, if you get people involved with certain things and kids at an early age, then there's a much better chance of them, being good for society. So we're very happy to be part of that stuff too.
And I think that's part of the Adirondacks.
I
just think we're, other than some of the supermarket chains, there aren't a lot of chains up here. It's a lot of small independent business owners, and it's sort of everybody pitches in and supports each other, which I think is tremendous. As long as we're talking about where people can find your products, you guys you can order stuff online, right?
Yeah. I mean, along with doing what we're doing social media wise, all of this really the social media stuff is really to really get a little bit more knowledge of Oscars. But what it has led to is people going to the website. Our website is Oscar's ADKSmokehouse.com. Very easy website, drop down menus. We've upgraded it so it has a lot of stuff on there. We're in the process of upgrading some more stuff. I mean, I have a customer in every state, Hawaii, Alaska. We have them everywhere. The majority of our customers are snowbirds, people who live up here and go to Florida for the winter or have moved to Florida altogether. So our biggest state outside of New York, obviously, is going to be Florida. I don't know how to say this. It's very nice for us to have somebody from Texas or California or wherever to deal with something small in the Adirondack Mountains. I mean, if those people actually knew the town we were in or whatever, or looked into it, I mean, we're small. And so really what we like is the different towns and different states that we have customers in, and that they're willing sometimes to spend a little bit more on shipping because of where they are to get our products. And, a lot of times it's the mainstays, it's mustard, it's the 7-year-old, it's the bacon, and you can go to certain states like Florida, for example. I mean, Florida's got a lot of good stuff. Bacon's not one of them, and that's not me saying that. That's everybody who calls me who says, listen, the weather's great, the communities are great, but the bacon is horrible. Listen, I can get it to you. No problem at all, So now it isn't as big of a part of our business as you would think, because we have people that are willing to drive from a long ways away to get here too. So, I mean, I'll have customers that'll drive 2 or 3 hours and not even think about it. And that's a testament to us, because I'm like, I think about some things that I would drive 2 to 3 hours for. It's only a couple,
Yeah.
It's not. So that to me means that it's that we're doing something right. If you're willing to take that much time to drive up, and there's some people that are like, I can have it ship it to me, but it's just not the same, And I'm like, we appreciate that too, because obviously they're coming here for the my employees and to take a look around and see if we have some new stuff and whatever. So.
Yeah. I mean, you mentioned all the places where you can find your products locally. That's sort of like a last resort for us. We always want to go to the store. We always want to go to the source.
You know what the thing is that, we'll even have people that'll have something in a store in their neighborhood or whatever. Let's say maybe I live right down in the street from the co-op, and the co-op is a great thing for people in the Niskayuna area. But they'll still drive up here just because, listen, you know what I get? It's a great drive. And it is. I mean, listen, look where we live. I mean, you drive up I don't know if you guys have seen it, but as you're coming north on 87, that's off on the right-hand side, there's all those billboards. And one of them says, I think it's from HHHN. And I believe it says, wouldn't you like this to be your commute to work? And if you think about it, I mean, coming up I-87, if you're coming out of Albany or whatever, it's not a bad drive. So people are more than willing to come up here and drive and come and see us. And, I got people that'll come in here and look at me and like, I want that person to wait on me. I'm like, oh yeah, that's fine. And they come here to see that person, and that person waits on them, and that person knows exactly what they want. And that's huge too, because you don't see much of that anymore.
Do you have a favorite product?
I mean, listen, I am very boring. Okay. I love bacon. I'm boring. I love bacon. It doesn't matter what kind of bacon, whether it's our hickory, our apple, our double smoked, our thick, our jalapeno, it doesn't matter. I mean, I just am a bacon, and it doesn't matter if I prefer it crispy, but if it's not crispy, I'm not sending it back.
Right. Right.
So I'll eat it, but also another thing that we grew up with, and it's something that's really, really, really becoming very popular is the smoked pork chops.
Yes.
You don't really, it's
favorite.
really an easy meal.
Yes.
I did something on Facebook just recently, and I'm not kidding you, 5 minutes between the chop. You're only warming up the chop. I melted some cheese on it. You put a little more than mustard on the side. You're done. You're done. You get the smokiness, you get the pungency, it's all that stuff. And it's like, it's almost like one of those, you see it on a commercial, like the taste explosion in your mouth. And it really is the mustard, the cheese, and the chop. I mean, if you've never had it in that order or together, 5-minute meal, for goodness sakes. It's very easy. And nowadays, as you both well know, we are looking for the easiest, fastest, quickest way that we can get something done nowadays. And that works okay for meals. Oscar's is not, I'll give you another example. I mean, there are many places in this country that do hams, for example. What they do is they'll inject it with liquid smoke to get the smoked flavor, and then they'll smoke it for a few hours to get the color. Oscars, even if I'm out of hams and I have nothing to sell, I'm not gonna. We don't change the process. Sorry, it's going to be 18 to 20 hours in the smoker. There's good. All that smoke you get is natural smoke flavor. So, we're just because we're getting more customers and because people want stuff quicker. Our process is still a slow process. We're never going to change that. I think people become used to that, and they're very easily. I guess what I want to say is they're okay with waiting if they have to, type of thing. So I think that us, trying our best to make simple meals for people. Okay, like I said, the chop is phenomenal. I've got other ones that are very simple. I mean, when you're dealing with smoke products, you're just looking to warm them up. So it's more about what you're going to put that together with, type of thing. So. Favorite thing is bacon, and it always will be. Second favorite thing is smoked pork chops, just because it's easy. My kids like it. A kid likes it. Adults like it. Very simple.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I would go with. If you're coming to my house, that's what you're having.
And they freeze beautifully. So we always have smoked pork chops in the freezer. Yeah.
Yeah, the vacuum sealing of any of our products makes a huge difference. It's tough to freeze stuff. Especially if you're talking about meats, and if don't do it the right way, they go really they're just not the same. Yep. Vacuum sealing it takes all the air out of it, and taking the air out of a frozen product is where you get all the problem. It's where you get the freezer burn. It's where you get the taste difference. So by vacuum sealing those, putting them in the freezer for 6 months, I've had people keep them in there for 9 months, take them out, and there's no difference from the day that they got them. So vacuum sealing is really big.
Yeah, I mean that smoked pork chop, and I don't mean to beat a dead horse on this thing, but they're also deliciously juicy. Like when we first had them, I thought smoked pork chop, it's going to be dry. I don't want to smoke dry. It was not. It's so. My mom does like a bourbon glaze that's delicious.
Oh, phenomenal.
Have to get her to make a bourbon bacon glaze.
Yeah,
right. Yeah,
it's phenomenal. And as you say, it's easy peasy. I put them on the grill with some barbecue sauce for a few minutes, and they've been great. Yeah.
And the thing is, we're under guidelines like anybody else. We're under USDA guidelines. We're under state of ag and markets guidelines. So we do have to do the chops to a certain degree, but there's variables. So what we like to do is we like to make that minimum temperature, because the minimum temperature means you're leaving the juice in there, and you're going to get that when you take it home. Whereas if even a couple degrees difference up, is going to possibly dry that out. And that's the biggest thing with smoke products is people realistically, and it's understandable, when you, just like you said, when you think of smoked stuff, certain things you think, well, that's going to be dry. It's thin, you're cutting it thin, you're only cutting an inch or 3/4 of an inch. But because of the way we do it, and we do the guide, we meet the guideline, but the minimum of that guideline. Try our hams. Our hams are as juicy as ham steak, juicy as anything.
I hate to get off of the subject of pork, but as much as I enjoy it, the smoked blue cheese is perfect. You know
what, Steve? We had been smoking cheese for forever. I mean, we were smoking the bricks of cheese forever. And we had a gentleman. We had a gentleman who sells us stuff. Okay, he doesn't do it anymore, but he did. And he said to us, "Have you ever thought about smoking blue cheese? It's porous. It's all. People really like. People either like or hate blue cheese." And so we did it, and we tried it, and the smoke almost like took away a little bit of what you didn't like about blue cheese. You know what I'm saying? Because blue cheese is an acquired taste. Not everybody's going to like it, but smoked blue cheese has just been one of those things where, so to give you an example, so the other hard cheeses that we do, you actually have to cut those, and you're only going to get the smoke on the outer part of it. So it almost creates like a layer of the smoked cheese. With the blue cheese, even though you don't see it a lot, you see the brown on the outside. But what you don't see is because it's porous, you're actually getting that smoke inside of the cheese itself. Yeah. So when we started putting it out there and sampling it, and at first it was just like a cheese and cracker thing. Next thing it was putting it on top of a salad. Next thing it was people were putting it on top of their New York strip, or putting it on top of their filet mignon. And now it's to the point where, I mean, I can't keep it in stock. I mean, I'm smoking 20 or 30 wheels every single week this time
Wow.
of year. And I'm probably doing 60 wheels a week during the summer when the foot traffic gets to be a little bit more. So I was not ever really a big blue cheese person, but it is phenomenal. A smoked blue cheese is phenomenal on a steak. It really is. And we made a smoked blue cheese dressing out of it. We sell it just in crumbles for you to take home and do what you want with it. So it's really something that I think we never really thought too much about until it was like put right in front of us. And now that it has, it's something we certainly can't go away from because I have retail customers, like people who are buying it for their house that buy a whole wheel at a time, a 6-pound wheel.
Wow.
That's a lot. Listen, we all know about blue cheese, and 6 pounds of blue cheese is going to last you a long time.
That's a lot. It's a lot of blue cheese.
It's a lot. So Rachel Ray has been a big fan of ours for a long time. And one Christmas, she sent Guy Fieri a 6-pound wheel of our blue cheese. And like that probably was one of the very first, and this was a few years ago. This was probably one of the very first times that I had heard of somebody doing that. And Rachel Ray, I love her to death, but she's very, very giving. And so when they called up and asked for it, I said, "You sure you don't want to just give like a pound?" No. I want to give a whole wheel. Well, when Guy gets this, he didn't even cut it at first. He left it the way it was. And then a gift from Rachel, he then incorporated that into one of his shows. So there's a Guy Fieri show out there when he was doing a cooking show, not necessarily the dives and drive-ins and whatever, but another one. I mean, he promoted that just because it was a gift that he loves that stuff now. You know, he can't get enough of it. So, you know, sometimes you step into things and they work out really, really well. And this happens to be one of them.
That's great. And I was going to ask you about Rachel Ray, famous cook and, you know, her talk show and everything. She's from Lake George. And what a great booster for the area, too. She does such a big promoter for the Adirondacks, especially the Southern Adirondacks and the Lake George region. Yeah.
Let me just give you a quick story, if you don't mind. So,
sure.
And this goes along with everything. It isn't just Oscars. So we get a phone call probably about maybe 5 years ago, maybe a little bit longer than that. It is from a tour, a bus tour company. And they're like, yeah, we would like, we have a bus of 40 or 50 people who would like to come in and take a look at your place. I'm like, oh, okay. Because we've had that before. I'm like, oh, okay. I said, so you get to talk to people, and the lady's like, yeah, you're part of the Rachel Ray tour. And I'm like, and I'd never heard of it. And it was new in the area. And I'm like, the Rachel Ray tour? I'm like, well, can you enlighten me? They're like, what we've put together a few-day tour of the area, and they take everybody to any place that Rachel Ray goes to. So they'll take, they'll come here, they'll go to Hicks Orchard, they'll go to the Harvest, any place that has to do with us. And so that tells you, right there that she does promote the area, and it is about the area. And so that to me speaks volumes about Rachel Ray, because she doesn't have to do any of that stuff. She is very much a huge supporter of this area and does so much. And the story of her first coming in here, in case people don't know it, she came in here out of nowhere. Okay. And this is when she was still doing 30-minute meals. So she was somewhat new to the Food Network. Okay. I mean, obviously the area knew her. She came in, and we, realistically being a little bit oblivious, didn't really know who she was. She did her shopping and whatever, and we treated her like we did anybody else, which was hello and what can we do, and blah, blah, not realizing it was Rachel. So she left, and the customer behind her says, "Do you know who that was?" And we're like, "No." They're like, "That was Rachel Ray." I'm like, "Well, I missed that boat." I'm like, well, I should have done something a little different with that one, right? So we're like, oh, man, because that doesn't happen very often. So about 10 minutes later, I get a phone call, and it's a gentleman, and it happens to be a producer of her show. And they're like, "Yeah, Rachel Ray was just in your store." And we're like, "Yeah, we're aware of that." And they're like, "Yeah, she was really, really impressed by your whole operation. And she would love to have you on the show." And I'm like, "Oh, come on." Like, I first of all, I thought it was a scam. I'm like, "Yeah, okay, good one, whatever." And they're like, "No, we really," and that was the start of it. We treated her like anybody else, and she liked it. She didn't get treated like she was Rachel Ray. We didn't go above and beyond. We just treated her like normal. And I'm telling you, the relationship has blossomed into not just a business relationship. We're friendly. She's very nice to my employees, nice to people in her industry. I mean, our stuff has been to some very, very famous people that would not have been unless it was for Rachel Ray, So, and she's really nice. I've had people say, "Oh, I've seen her." I said, "Look, if you're going to disrupt her during dinner, she might not be that nice. But if you disrupt me during dinner, I'm not going to be that nice, But as a normal person, when she's in the store and people recognize her, there's nothing that she won't do. She's phenomenal. Her husband, John, is real nice. Her mother, Elsa, and her dad have always come in here for forever. So we're very happy to have her. Not necessarily, I mean, it was great for the business. Whenever we were on the show, there was an uptick in the website, and that was awesome. But it was more her genuine feelings towards us. Whenever she came in here, hug and kiss, said hello to everybody. We couldn't have a better ambassador for Oscars than somebody like Rachel, who is not a cook. She's not a chef. She'll tell you she's not. She's just a person who likes food. And there's no better person to promote Oscars, at least, than a person who likes food. So we're very happy that we got to know her. Even as things are winding down with her nowadays, I still get phone calls from her and her assistant. They still send stuff to other people and stuff. But so it was a very nice relationship that we'd formed with her. So it was awesome. Can't say enough about her. That's for sure.
I want to shift gears a little bit. We alluded to this a little bit earlier, about the original footprint of Oscars. And in 2009, you guys had a really devastating fire. It was made the news. It may have even made the national news. It was huge news.
It was on CNN. Yeah, it was on CNN.
Everyone, it had to be devastating for you. It was devastating for us as customers. Did you know right away we're rebuilding or?
Yes. So here's the thing. And you well know, because you've made the point of saying, Jane, and Steve knows this also. In the old store, it was really small. And so over the years, we'd almost made like a checklist. Now listen, first of all, our brick smokehouses were grandfathered in. So we weren't going to do anything to that building that was going to affect that. Okay. So we looked at it as the only way, if, let's say, hypothetically, something really bad happened to the business, let's just say, and we had to rebuild. We almost had a checklist of what we wanted to do. This needs to be changed. This needs to be changed, whatever. Okay. So we kind of already had a plan, but yet it was never going to go into motion unless something devastating happened. Okay. So to give you an example, the day that the fire happened, I was off. It was a Friday. I live right behind the store. Didn't happen to be looking out the window. My sister calls me, says the store's on fire. I run down and see where the fire is. I knew where the fire was, and where the fire was, we were in trouble because I knew what part of the building it was, and I knew how fast it was going to go up. So I go around the front. Everybody's out front. A crowd had already been coming up. My dad was nowhere to be found. I asked my brother-in-law. I said, "Where's my dad?" Nobody knew where he was. I ran into the building. It was on fire, and the back part of the building was on fire, not the front yet. I ran into the building, yelling for my dad, found my dad in one of the coolers, and my dad was taking this very hard at that day. The fire hadn't even been put out yet. So I got him out of the building. We got some older stuff out of the building, the picture of my grandfather and so. The place was burning still till about 11 o'clock at night. Probably about 7 o'clock that night, we'd had a game plan as far as what we wanted to do, where we wanted to do it. We had already had I think the next day, a customer of ours happened to be a builder that we had a good rapport with, but just, he came up on, it was Labor Day weekend. So that Monday, so it was Labor Day of 2009, he came up with plans, what he thought we might like. Okay. And it just started immediately like that. So 3 days after the fire, we were already in rebuild mode. We had been offered different counties, tried to entice us to come to their county and build there, so that, Saratoga County, certain economic developments that wanted us to be there. And my dad said, "We're going to rebuild right here." Okay. And no place else. So you got to figure the fire was, I believe it was September 9th of 2009. And we were back in business, fully in business by February of 2010. So it was 5 months in the winter, 5 months in the winter. So we had an incredible crew helping us. And also we did stuff behind the back. I mean, we put a phone up in my parents' pool house I was taking phone calls. Everybody wanted gift cards. Everybody wanted to support us. When you go in the store, there's a little segment, a little section down on a wall. We kept some stuff. We have two little girls that probably are in college or are a mother now, who sent us, a little girl sent us $1 and said, a little girl sent us $5. I mean, just the outpouring of support was phenomenal. I mean, the fire was on Facebook, and we'd have people say it's the best smelling fire we've ever been to. And, I mean, we had hundreds of people in the parking lot looking at it and whatever. And, so many people wanted to be involved with helping and whatever. And so we really turned what could have been a really bad situation into a heartfelt, warm situation. My dad was able to keep all the employees on because of business interruption insurance that he had. So nobody had to go find jobs. Nobody had to go on unemployment. So, we really feel that whole thing really has made Oscars much better than they were. I mean, I know there are some people who miss the nostalgia, as do we. My dad, myself, people who've been here before miss it, and I get it. But if you're going to compare the old store to the new store, you'd much rather shop in the new store than the old store. Simply because of all the stuff we have. So we turned what would be considered a really bad situation into what we've considered is probably one of the best things that ever happened to us.
Yeah, definitely.
And not a lot of people can say that. They really can. I mean, I know people have had fires. We had a fire. As a matter of fact, our very first building was down on Main Street. It was actually right on the main street where Jacobs and Tony is right now. It was called the Music Hall. And we actually, our first building actually burnt down. And that's why we moved to our current location right now. So we actually had a fire that we did lose the business at one point, but it was so early on that, it was just moving the building or moving the business to a different address and just rebuilding type of thing. So, when we had been in business for 65 years by then. And so it took an awful lot, machinery and whatever, but I'm telling you, it made us the business that we are today. So.
Jock, we could probably go on for another 2 hours talking about Oscars, but you have a business to run, and our listeners, who I'm sure are loving this episode, do need to get back to their day. But before we let you go, we love to ask our guests to name one of their favorite places in the Adirondacks, and you can't say Oscars, but
That's too easy.
It can be anything. It can be your favorite restaurant. It could be your favorite fishing hole. It could be a place to watch a movie, anything. You can name it. And people often have a hard time with just one. So if you have a couple, that's fine too.
I'm going to go with two things. Okay. One is going to go along with what's going on here. It's a place that we can get something to eat at. And so we'll talk about that. One of my passions is golfing, and I love to golf. Golf doesn't love me, but I love to golf. So I am going to say the one thing that I love to do is I love to go to Cronin's right here in Warrensburg. I just love the atmosphere. It's like going into Oscars. I know everybody over there. They always take good care of the course. They take care of the people. They're phenomenal when it comes to just BSing with people. I mean, that's a lot of things with business. If you can talk to people. So I love Cronin's. First of all, it's 5 minutes from my house. And second of all, I just love the guys. I love everything about it. And then when I'm done golfing, I like to take the trip over to the east side of Lake George on Ridge Road, Upper Ridge Road, as a matter of fact. And I love to go to the Ridge Terrace. The Ridge Terrace, I am somebody who, when I like something, and I have been going there now, oh my goodness, for over 20 years. And I get the same 3 or 4 dishes, and I'm telling you, I've never, ever had it be any different than it was from day one. I mean, the chef owner over there is phenomenal. I can point you to at least 2 different dishes on there that are just out of this world. The ambiance is great. It gets busy in there during the summer, but it's out of the way. And I just can't say enough about it. The staff is really good, but everything is very, very consistent. And I'm like Oscars, we like to be very consistent. And so I love those 2 places. So Cronin's Golf. And when I'm done golfing, I'm going to head right over to the Ridge Terrace and get the chicken fromage. It's phenomenal. But they also do, for an appetizer, they do a baked Havarti.
Oh, I love
I'm
that.
telling you,
Yeah.
those two things, baked Havarti as my app and the chicken fromage. I mean, you really, it's the same every time I've been there, and I've probably been there over 100 times. It's the same. It's the
That's
same.
great.
It's never. So yeah,
That's awesome.
I like that.
Thank you for that. Before we let you go, let's just, your website again is oscarsadksmokehouse.com.
Yep. Oscar's ADK Smokehouse. It's got just about everything on there. Like I said, we are adding stuff to it. With a social media campaign we're doing now and stuff like that. Certain people are asking for other things. So we're going to put some stuff on there, but very easy. We ship Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. If your order comes into us in that morning, it usually goes out that afternoon. We're very quick. FedEx we're using now for shipping. You know, if you're around here, it's going to be due probably the next day. If you're away from us, it should be there usually by Wednesday. So we're very quick as far as that goes. But it's a very easy website. We try to make it because we have a lot of customers that are a little bit older. So we try to make drop-down menus and as simple as possible. So
sure.
Also, check out anybody who buys our products and sells it too. If you go to our website towards the bottom of that front page, it'll tell you places where restaurants that have it, and also mom and pop places. So if you do want to check it out and you want to figure out, maybe it's someplace you live or someplace you're going to and you want to check out those places, you go to our website and you'll find those names also.
Awesome. Thanks, Chuck.
Yeah, and just so you do know, I mean, we just ended the St. Patrick's Day holiday, and we're going into Easter now. Easter is the second biggest holiday, a third biggest holiday besides Christmas and Thanksgiving. Please don't wait until the last minute. You can place your order now for Christmas or Easter ham, and we can hold it and ship it closer to Easter, or right now, because we're inside of the 30 to 40 days, we could certainly ship it to you right away, and you can keep it in your fridge. So the only thing I can tell you is just try not to wait too long on that kind of stuff. So.
I was actually going to even say that, calling it, you can call ahead and order, and then you won't avoid the disappointment. Yeah.
Yeah. And also we've stopped recently over the last few years. We stopped shipping in the summertime only because it's a little bit tough to ship with the heat and also with foot traffic we have here's a lot. So we don't ship from about the middle of June to the middle of September. So keep that in mind. But we ship, the other 9 months of the year. So
sure,
we'll certainly get it to you.
And also, definitely, if you like what you heard today or you're already Oscar's fan, I'm loving what you're doing on Facebook. Those videos are awesome. I don't know, Jock, you're on there all the time. I don't even know how you have time to work because you're always doing those cute, fun videos. They're great. I love them.
Yeah, thank you. Seth Cooper, who I brought on to do this stuff. Phenomenal job. He basically leads me by my nose and says, okay, you're doing this today, and go over and listen. And the thing is, guys, so if you've seen them, maybe you haven't seen this one, but we've done a bunch. And the quirkiest one we did was I was shopping. I went to the local grocery store and shopped for stuff.
Yes.
You know which one got the most hits? That one. Of me pointing out the mint Oreo cookies. And the price of eggs at $9.99 you would have listen. I brought $60 to buy all that stuff. It cost $12. That tells you how often I've been to a grocery store. But that one was the one that got the most response. So. I've learned that I thought seriousness, but quirkiness gets you some hits too. So.
I know. The one where you put the chocolate on the cheeseburger.
Oh, listen. I thought that I said to Seth, if it tastes horrible, I am going to tell everybody it tastes horrible. It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. I mean, I'm not putting chocolate on my kid's hamburger anymore, but I'm telling you, for something that a customer asked us, now that was a question we had, and we're like, I'll put chocolate on there. And we put pickles and chocolate. And so, those weird things are what people like to see. I mean, listen, we talked earlier, people love to see what's going on behind the scenes, but people also like to see that we're human, and that, and that we do make mistakes. And I do stutter and I do like mint Oreos. So, I mean, what are you going to do? I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. All right, Jock. Thanks so much for spending time with us. I think Steve and I, we envision an Oscars part 2, maybe, and having you back. Maybe we'll do something around the holidays. Well, that's probably your busiest time.
No, listen, this was great, Jane and Steve. You guys are awesome. I appreciate the recognition. I know that what you guys do You guys are doing it because you believe in this kind of stuff. When I talked to you first, Jane, I loved it. So listen, I'll do 3 more of these things if you want to. Trust me, anybody who knows me knows that one thing I can do is
let's do it. We'll have to do it in person next time.
With bacon.
I'll make time. So this was awesome. And I appreciate you thinking of Oscars. That's for sure.
All right. Well, thanks again, Jack, and take care.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
Gosh, I know we say this every time. That was a lot of fun. What a
Starving now.
I know. I'm like, I got to get some bacon.
Cheeses we didn't even get into the cheese spreads or.
I don't think I've had that smoked blue cheese. I'm gonna have to pick some of that up.
Oh, when Uncle Ed and Dad and I would be up there, we'd get ribeyes and we'd cook them and just finish them with a little bit of that smoked blue cheese crumbled on the top of it before I took it off the grill, and it just melt down. Oh, that is good.
That is good. Listener, we will have links to Oscars and all the stuff we've mentioned today on this episode. Hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. But, and if you're a first-time listener, please check out some of our other episodes. And if you like what you hear, subscribe, review, rate us, and come visit us on our website, adktaste.com. We're always sharing what we think is the best of the Adirondacks, and hopefully you can find something new and discover something new.
Yeah. Email us, chime in, tell us what you think is the best of the Adirondacks.
info@adktaste.com is our email. And then we have a weekly newsletter where we give people updates, current fun events, everything that we've handpicked. We love to share what we love with you. So, Steve, anything you want to add?
I think I'm going to go cook some bacon. I
think so. I know. I got to get some of that baconaise too. That sounds so good. All right. Alrighty. Thanks, listener. Take care. We'll see you next time on the pod. Bye-bye.